Good morning, everybody. This is your psychic Christine, and this is episode 104. I always want to thank all of my new subscribers, listeners that have stuck with me from the beginning. Thank you all so much and are still around. In this episode 104, I would like to talk or give the short version of Buddha's story. And in future episodes, we will start to get into more detail on the subject, how it all applies to us, and how to get on the right path in life. So let us begin. India, at the time of Buddha, was very spiritually open. Every major philosophical view was present in society, and people expected spirituality to influence their daily lives in positive ways. At this time of great potential, Siddhartha, Gautama, the future Buddha, was born into a royal family in what is now Nepal, close to the border with India. Growing up, the Buddha was exceptionally intelligent and compassionate, tall, strong, and handsome. The Buddha belonged to the warrior caste. It was predicted that he would either become a great king or a spiritual leader. Since his parents wanted a powerful ruler for their kingdom, they tried to prevent Siddhartha from seeing the unsatisfactory nature of the world. They surrounded him with every kind of pleasure. He was given every opportunity for sports and excitement. He completely mastered the important combat training, even winning his wife, Yasodhara, in an archery contest. Suddenly, at the age of 29, he was confronted with impermanence and suffering. On a rare outing from his luxurious palace, he saw someone desperately sick. The next day, he saw a decrepit old man, and finally a dead person. He was very upset to realize that old age, sickness, and death would come to everyone he loved. Siddhartha had no refuge to offer them. The next morning, the prince walked past a meditator who sat in deep absorption. When their eyes met and their minds linked, Siddhartha stopped, mesmerized. In a flash, he realized that the perfection he had been seeking outside must be within the mind itself. Meeting that man gave the future Buddha a first and enticing taste of mind, a true and lasting refuge, which he knew he had to experience himself for the good of all. The Buddha decided he had to leave his royal responsibilities and his family in order to realize full enlightenment. He left the palace secretly and set off alone into the forest. Over the next 6 years, he met many talented meditation teachers and mastered their techniques. Always he found that they showed him mind's potential, but not the mind itself. Finally, at a place called Bodh Gaya, the future Buddha decided to remain in meditation until he knew mind's true nature and could benefit all beings. After spending 6 days and nights cutting through mind's most subtle obstacles, he reached enlightenment on the full moon morning of May, a week before turning 35. At that moment of full realization, all veils of mixed feelings and stiff ideas dissolved, and Buddha experienced the all-encompassing here and now. All separation in time and space disappeared. Past, present, and future, near and far, melted into one radiant state of intuitive bliss. He became timeless, all-pervading awareness. Through every cell in his body, he knew and was everything. He became Buddha, the awakened one. After his enlightenment, Buddha traveled on foot throughout northern India. He taught constantly for 45 years. People of all castes and professions, from kings to courtesans, were drawn to him. He answered questions, always pointing toward that which is untimely real. Throughout his life, Buddha encouraged his students to question his teachings and confirm them through their own experience. This non-dogmatic attitude still characterizes Buddhism today. So this is the short version of Buddha's story. And in future episodes, we are going to explore this in more depth, more details to his story, and how it applies to us, how all of these ancient teachings and stories we can relate to, even in these modern times. They're still applicable. I mean, they're timeless stories. And what Buddha had learned through this deep meditation, he was able to separate himself from his mind. So in the story, it's teaching us he wanted to observe the mind, not the potential of the mind. He kind of wanted to get out of his own head and see the mind for what it is, what it does, how it affects us, what's real, what's imagined, getting into our fears and all of this stuff. And in future episodes, we will get into this more in depth, meaning his story, and then we will move on to the teachings of the Four Noble Truths, which can be really eye-opening for my listeners, for all of us. And even till today, thousands of years later, Buddha still has a following because it's a path to enlightenment and kind of a freedom of emotional, mental, and physical suffering. So as I've said in in the last episode prior to this one, we're taking it mind, body, and spirit. Thank you so much for being here and listening to the story of Buddha, and I'd like to wish you all the best of luck. Enjoy the rest of your day.